I made these images and these videos completely for free. No installs, no expensive GPU, and most importantly, free to use. No monthly subscription required. Because let's be honest, a lot of AI tools don't just cost $10 a month. They cost $10 a month forever. Before we dive in, if you're getting value from this video, don't forget to slap that like button. Let's get started. First, you'll need the notebook linked in the description. Once you open it, you'll land inside Google Colab, and this is where everything starts. Usually, running AI models like Stable Diffusion requires a fairly powerful graphics card to handle the heavy processing involved in generating images. Your CPU can technically do it, but it would be extremely slow. That's why Google Colab is so powerful. It gives you free access to a GPU, allowing you to run AI models that would normally require expensive hardware. But before doing anything else, click Runtime, then change runtime type, and make sure your hardware accelerator is set to T4 GPU. On this notebook, it's usually already selected, but if anything breaks later, this is the first thing you check. Next, scroll down and run the installation cells. Run the second cell, then the third. These install everything needed for Google Colab image generation and video generation workflows using Hugging Face models. Now don't worry about the code. You don't need to understand anything behind the scenes. Think of this like setting up apps on a new phone. It may take a few minutes depending on Google's servers, but that's completely normal. Once that's done, we move to the most important part of everything, the prompt. Most people think AI generation is random. It's not. In fact, most bad outputs come from bad prompts. And once you understand the structure, everything becomes predictable. For images, the prompt follows 5 key parts. First is the subject, what you're generating, like a rugged outdoor wedding ring. Second is the setting, where it exists, like on a moss-covered rock in a forest. Third is composition, how the camera sees it, like macro product photography. Fourth is lighting, which controls the entire mood. For example, soft morning light feels completely different from dramatic cinematic lighting. And finally, style and quality. This is where you define whether you want realistic, cinematic, vintage, or luxury brand photography. When writing prompts for AI video generation, the structure is very similar. You start with subject and action, then add camera movement, environment, lighting, and style. For example, a golden retriever running through a field of wildflowers. Cinematic tracking shot, soft sunlight, gentle wind, realistic. You'll also see negative prompts, which tell the model what not to generate, like blurry, distorted, extra fingers, or low-quality artifacts. But keep in mind, not all models support negative prompts equally. Now that we've got prompts ready, let's generate images. The notebook includes 2 main models for Stable Diffusion Google Colab image generation. First is Google Colab SDXL Turbo, and second is SDXL Lightning. Both are powerful, but they behave very differently. We'll use the same prompt for both. A cyberpunk city street after rain. Neon signs reflecting on wet pavement. People walking with umbrellas. Cinematic lighting. Realistic, highly detailed. First, SDXL Turbo is all about speed. It generates images quicker using just 1 inference step. That makes it perfect for fast experimentation inside a Google Colab video generator workflow. But the trade-off is quality. As you can see, there are some slightly messy details, unreadable text, and some unnatural elements like this person here. It still looks good, but you can immediately tell it's AI generated. Now compare that to SDXL Lightning. This version uses multiple inference steps and produces higher resolution outputs, around 1024 by 1024. It takes longer, especially on the first run, because it downloads a large model from Hugging Face. But that download happens in the cloud, not on your device. When you run the same prompt here, the difference is immediate. Sharper lighting, better depth, and much more realistic structure and people. It still isn't perfect, like the text here is not actually readable, but compared to Turbo, it feels like a clear upgrade. And compared to most free Google Colab AI image generator models, this is already insanely good for 0 cost. So simple rule, SDXL Turbo is for ideas and speed. SDXL Lightning is for final outputs. And if you encounter memory issues, reconnect the runtime and rerun the setup cells. This usually clears temporary memory problems and gets things running again. Now, let's move on to what most people are really here for: video generation. For video generation, we start with AnimateDiff, which is the beginner-friendly option. You input your prompt, optionally add a negative prompt, and run it. After a few minutes, you get a result. For example, we use a prompt of a golden retriever running through a field. The result from AnimateDiff actually looks good. There are no deformed features and the motion is smooth enough, but you can immediately tell it's AI generated. The movement feels slightly artificial, like a sequence of frames stitched together rather than a real video. Now we compare that to CogVideoX-2B, which is a completely different level. This model is designed specifically for video generation, with better temporal consistency, smoother motion, and far more realistic physics. We run the exact same prompt, a golden retriever running. And the difference is obvious. In CogVideoX-2B, the dog actually looks like a real running golden retriever. The motion feels natural, the body stays consistent, and the movement in this 2-second video is fluid and cinematic. That said, it's still not perfect. If you look closely, the overall video quality is still fairly low compared to premium AI video generators, and some details can appear soft or slightly artificial. While the motion is a huge improvement over AnimateDiff, the final result still has that unmistakable AI-generated look. In AnimateDiff, it still looks good and there are no broken limbs or major distortions, but you can immediately sense it's AI-generated. In CogVideoX-2B, it feels much closer to real footage, especially with camera motion and depth. The trade-off is speed. CogVideoX-2B takes longer and uses more resources, which is why we rely on optimizations like 4-bit quantization inside the notebook. But considering this is all running on free Google Colab GPU, it's still superb what it can do. Once it's done, your video appears inside Colab's file browser, ready to preview and download. But before you start generating everything, here's what you need to know. First, this is free, but free always comes with trade-offs. These models are powerful, but they're not the same as premium tools like Midjourney or high-end paid video generators. Second, the first run is always the slowest because models need to download, especially large ones like SDXL or CogVideoX-2B. Third, Google Colab sessions are temporary. If you disconnect, everything resets, including downloaded models. That's just how cloud environments work. If you want smoother downloads, create a free Hugging Face account and generate a free read access token. This helps you avoid anonymous download limits and also gives you access to gated models after accepting their terms. As for the workflow, I recommend starting with SDXL Turbo and AnimateDiff when you're testing prompts and experimenting with ideas. Once you've found a result you like, switch over to SDXL Lightning or CogVideoX-2B for higher quality final outputs. That alone will save you time and give you better outputs. And that's it. 4 powerful AI models inside one Google Colab notebook. No installs, no subscriptions, no GPU required. Just a browser and a few clicks. What's really impressive is how far this has come. A few years ago, stable diffusion Google Colab, SDXL Colab, and early video generation experiments required serious hardware. Now you can run AnimateDiff, CogVideoX, and full Google Colab image generation pipelines directly in your browser. If you want more context, make sure to check out our previous videos on Google Colab video generator workflows. They're still some of our best performing uploads and still very useful today. Now I want to hear from you. Which model was your favorite? SDXL Turbo, SDXL Lightning, AnimateDiff, or CogVideoX-2B? Drop a comment below. If this helped you, please subscribe to our channel for more interesting AI content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.